Much debate has been going on in the authenticity of the quote from Josephus writing about Jesus. At present, there are three scholarly consensus regarding the authenticity and reliability of this quote, known as the Testimonium Flavius. First, let's see a little bit about Josephus himself. He was a Jewish ruler who was born around 36 AD. Just to mention here, the date of birth and the mother's names are unknown. His early life details are unknown. Why am I mentioning this here? Just noting that just because of these facts, just because we don't know these facts, no one argues that Josephus is a mythical creature, that's all. And he died around 100 AD. He was originally Joseph ben Matthias, a Jewish ruler who was defeated by the Roman forces in the first Jewish-Roman war at Galileo. There is an interesting backstory about how he surrendered and was accepted by Emperor Vespasian and acquired the Roman citizenship and the name Flavius, which was a Roman name, and so on, which I won't be going into details right now. Josephus was a prolific writer and had written three major works, which were the Jewish Wars, the Antiquities of the Jews, and against Apion. Though he was considered a reliable historian, nonetheless he was a man of his times and had his own bias and varying sources for his claims and history. So most of the scholars may not place him at par with that of other historians like Tacitus, but nonetheless he is reliable and he is one of the most important sources from the 1st century AD. At the first, we need to note that there are two instances where Josephus mentions about Jesus Christ. Of course, he mentions other Jesuses, which was a common name back then in Judea, and deciphering which one is Christ and which one is not is not even a debated point at this present time. Most scholars know which Jesus is being spoken of, and both these passages talk about Jesus Christ mentioned in the Gospels. In this video, I would like to talk on only one of those passages which is disputed and widely considered to be a fraudulent interpolation, especially by internet skeptics. There are three scholarly views of seeing this passage, which is called the Testimonium Flavius, Book 18, Chapter 3 of Antiquities of Jews. One is it is completely authentic writing of Josephus. Second is completely fabricated by Christian interpolators and scribes. Third is partially authentic and was later touched up by Christian scribes. It is interesting to note here that the very first few scholars who doubted the authenticity of the TF were Christian scholars. In the 16th century, it was by the Protestant scholar Lucas Osiander, and in the 17th century, it was by Louis Chappell, a French Protestant churchman scholar. And most of the scholars from wide range of backgrounds and wide range of religious ideologies accept the third possibility, that it is partly authentic and it was later touched up by Christian scribes. Scholars who accept this view are as follows, and let's be very clear, as you can see the list here, this is not a group of apologists or Christian defenders as some people claim. So before we jump into discussing this viewpoint, we will analyze some minor positions, and this will help us make a rational conclusion based on the pros and cons. Was it completely authentic? Very unlikely. I don't think it is likely. Reasons being is that Josephus was an Orthodox Jew and he would not have called Jesus as the Messiah or Christ. But it is possible that he reported something like Jesus was considered as a Messiah by his followers or something of that sort. So it is certainly not possible for him to call him Messiah or Christ directly. So that kind of a text is probably an interpolation. Origen, who mentions the writings of Josephus in his writings, he mentions that he speaks about Jesus, but we are not sure whether he is talking about the James passage or the Testimonium Flavius, but adds the fact that Josephus does not call him as a Messiah, which again points in favor of a limited authenticity of Testimonium Flavium. So it is clear that Josephus spoke of Jesus, but he did not mention him as Messiah. That is what Origen has said. Josephus was very neutral when addressing other characters like John the Baptist, but when coming to the Testimonium Flavius, there is excessive adjectives like resurrection or fulfillment of divine prophecies when addressing Jesus, which is again unlikely that it is a Josephine text. Now coming to the objections to the wholesale forgery of the TF, the proponents like Esther Dhanraj, who is not a scholar, and Richard Carrier, who is a scholar, historian, but he has never been fruitfully employed in any history department for a significant period of time. These objections are as follows. The writing is not typical of Josephus. No, it's not. Actually, it is very consistent with the Josephine Greek writing. Is the wording similar to Josephus or not? The consensus is not clear. There are scholars on both the sides. There are good arguments on both the sides. But let me just consider a couple of points here. Professor Carlton Paget and Professor Alice Wheatley have argued that it is far more likely that the core of the passage actually does go back to Josephus himself. It is consistent with Josephus' writing. We will see the reasons as follows. The term wise man is used by Josephus to denote Daniel and Solomon in these passages. This is unlikely for a Christian to say or use because Christians would have said something more than just wise man. They would have called Jesus as something more than that. The use of term paradoxical work to denote the miracles of Jesus is inconsistent with that of Christian interpolation. It is more consistent with the Josephine writing. He used the same term, paradoxical miracles or paradoxical work, in the case of explaining about prophet Elijah, in which he is doubtful about these miracles. He is not directly asserting that it is miracles, but it is saying that it is doubtful. There are several other words like the receive the truth with pleasure, principal men amongst us. These are all terms which are consistent with the other writings of Josephus. Christians did not use the term tribe to denote their religious men. This is something very important, and this is similar to what Josephus would have written in other places, like in these passages where he refers to a swarm of locusts to refer to the female gender and so on. Josephus calls Christians as tribes. So as I said, this is very unlikely that the Christians would have said this. And also, Josephus mentions that Jesus had Jewish and Greek followers during his lifetime, which attest that Josephus was probably transposing the current situation on the end of 1st century to the lifetime of Jesus Christ. This is not accurate, as only Jews were following Jesus during his lifetime, and Christians would have known this very easily. So interpolators would not have written this kind of text. Second argument from Esther is that it is a bizarrely brief text. The fact of the matter is, this is brief, but this is brief even for the Christian interpolators. Why did they not mention about more stories from the Gospel as part of the interpolation? Probably because it was not possible and only a part of it could be altered or changed later on, pointing to the original Josephine TF. We see Christian interpolations in other writings of Josephus, which is extensive and with more adjectives and more references to the Gospel, but why was this one limited? As Professor J.C. Paget notes, where we can be certain of the existence of Christian additions to Josephus, as well as glosses, they strike a more aggressively Christian note. In this respect, I would draw attention to the pseudo-Josephine passage about James, the Slavonic Josephine passages about Jesus, and some Christian glosses of Josephine manuscripts. So what Professor notes here is that in other places where we know clearly that there is a Christian interpolation, there is more adjectives of Christian embellishment, but such is not present in the TF. The Slavonic Josephus version, which is the old East Slavic translation of the Flavius Josephus history of the Jewish wars, has Jesus inserted into the chapter 2, 174 verse, which has heavy Christian annotation, which is lacking in TF. Similarly, the Slavonic Josephus blames the Jews for the crucifixion and death of Jesus, which is more probable in the case of a Christian interpolator. He would have blamed the crucifixion of Jesus Christ on the Jews, rather than the Josephine TF, which doesn't mention about that. Third objection is that the TF is not in context. The prayer passage and the passage next to it are not being in a continuous flow. So is the TF in context with the passage before and after it? Surprisingly, it is. Both the passages speak of disturbances and calamity. Why is the execution of a wise man like Jesus, who many Jewish and Greeks followed, and he was executed by the accusation of principal men among the Jews, not considered as calamity or disturbance? Certainly, Josephus could have seen this as a calamity, and the passage do talk about Pontius Pilate in both the passages before and after this. And this event of Jesus Christ took place during the time of Pontius Pilate. So this is actually in context only. And something to note here is that Pat Ehrman, the University of Colorado history professor, asserts this too. He mentions that the majority of scholars of early Judaism and experts on Josephus think that one or more Christian scribes touched up the passage a little bit. If one takes out the obvious Christian comments, the passage may have been rather innocuous, reading something like this. At this time there appeared Jesus, a wise man. He was a doer of startling deeds, a teacher of people who receive the truth with pleasure, and he gained a following both among many Jews and among many of Greek origin. When Pilate, because of an accusation made by the leading men among us, condemned him to the cross, those who had loved him previously did not cease to do so, and up until this very day, the tribe of Christians named after him has not died out. This is from the book Did Jesus Exist by Bart Ehrman. Regarding the passage being unrelated to the context, it was not at all uncommon for ancient writers who never used footnotes to digress from the main points, and in fact other digressions can be found in the surrounding context of the passage too. In fact, there are no less than 11 figures mentioned by Josephus whose references can be easily removed from their context without interrupting the flow of the surrounding passage. These are the cases in which Josephus tries to put in unrelated topics within the context of the passage that he is saying. The fourth objection is, was the TF forged by Eusebius? Because he was the first one to note this particular version. What is the scholarly consensus on this? Professor Sabrina Inoloki notes Olson's revival of the theory of Eusebian forgery for the TF, and then observes, but this has not found support among scholars. So majority of the scholars don't think that this was interpolation by Eusebius. Objection number 5 is none of the church fathers mention it. Actually they do. Origen mentions about Jesus passage which may or may not be the TF in Contra Celsus 1.47. But also it is important to note that the silence of Origen is evidence that the TF existed and was in an unedited form which was useless for his purpose, and he does mention about the James passage and also that Josephus doesn't call him a Messiah, which is evidence of a original TF. It is unlikely that the Antiquities was widely available in common usage as that of the Wars of Jews, so it is possible that the church fathers during the first few centuries, at least most of them, would not have known it or not had access to this. It is important to also note here that literally no one in the first 3 to 4 centuries, no one doubted the existence of Jesus Christ. Most of the pagan objections, including that of Celsus, who was counted by Origen, against Jesus during this time was about the birth of Jesus, his skills as a carpenter, or his shameful death on a cross, and so on. And so, the TF in its original format might not have been of any use for the church fathers to quote and counter these arguments. And Origen himself quotes Josephus less than only 10 times in all his writings, and all other fathers quote only from the Jewish Wars book rather than from the Antiquities. So, it is possible that they never had any access to the Antiquities. So, to quote Professor Alice Wheatley, Christians do not cite Josephus for anything in the New Testament. Not only do they not cite him on James, the brother of Jesus, or John the Baptist, whereas most surprisingly, they do not even quote Josephus as an authority on King Herod. Christians paid relatively little attention to their history in the 2nd and 3rd centuries. And finally, I just want to make a point here that those who propose that the Testimonium Flavius is a wholesale interpolation or forgery are not mythicists like Esther or Carrier or Robert Price. None of them say that Jesus never existed. They may doubt the reliability of TF, but they never doubted the existence of a person named Jesus Christ. Let's be clear on that. So finally, coming to the conclusion, the partial authenticity of Josephine TF and the existence of a moral neutral text before the Christian interpolations came in is widely accepted by majority of scholars. All manuscripts of Josephus contains the TF. There are textual variants, but all variants contain at least some of the TF, including the Pseudo-Hegesippus, a 4th century paraphrase of the Jewish Wars by Josephus mentions the TF without the Christian overtones. It doesn't mention about Pilate sending Jesus to death nor the Messiah phase, but nonetheless it speaks of Jesus. There is no external evidence that Eusebius was the interpolator. The interpolation might have probably happened after Origen and before Eusebius, but we don't know the exact person who did it, neither do we have any kind of manuscript evidence for that. The above points discussed show that there was a neutral Josephine Testimonium Flavius that spoke of Jesus. One such proposed form is given by Bart Ehrman, and it certainly attests to the historicity of Jesus, his miracles, his life, his crucifixion by Pontius Pilate, and the fact that the Christians followed this particular Messiah and they were called after him. The original TF is Josephine in its Greek writing style, and also the wordings are very similar to that of other Josephine passages. The entire passage is consistent with the one prior to it and after it, and it speaks of the time of Pontius Pilate, and even if it isn't, such digressions are very common to Josephine writings. So finally, as a conclusion, I would like to appeal to the audience, you make the decision yourself. Majority of the scholars in history, New Testament history, accept that this is partially authentic, and very few people even call it as interpolation, as a complete interpolation. And those people who call it an interpolation are not mythicists.